не як якесь право, не як якесь то, що нам належиться, а як дар. І тому живімо це життя згідно з тими Божими заповідями. І пам'ятаємо, що цей камінь наріжний, цей фундамент нашого життя завжди мусить бути Христос. Бо якщо Він не є нашим фундаментом нашого життя, тоді все інше стає. Матеріальні цінності, інші якісь влада, популярність, слава і тому подібне. Не забуваємо ні на мить, що ми не є власниками, ми є орендарями. І в один прекрасний момент Бог пришле тих слуг своїх і скаже: дайте те, що належить. Нехай Господь дозволяє нам завжди ніколи не забувати, хто ми є у відношенні до Нього, в Його тих відносинах з Богом. І нехай ми завжди будемо чесними, побожними, правдивими опікунами Його Божого винограднику. Амінь. Today's parable is a beautiful parable, but like every parable, it's very important to understand the background of the story. Because if we understand the background of the story, we understand the parable better as well. And the background is very simple. The parable that he says to Pharisees and Sadducees and the Jews around him happens in the Holy Week. He comes to Jerusalem and he arrives into Jerusalem on a donkey, and people throw palm branches under his feet, so there is glory, there is excitement in the city, and then he goes into the temple. And he sees this coin changers and the temple being defiled, and he gets upset and he overthrows the temple, and he chases out those traders from the temple, so he purifies, cleans the tables. And obviously it gets upset certain people because, oftentimes if you lose a connection to money, if you lose your, financial gain, you get upset. It was true 2,000 years ago, it's true right now in this world as well. So they get upset and they start to plot against him. And right in that situation, he talks to them and he tells them this parable. And this parable is very simple. And they understand this. They understand the meaning. He says, the owner of the vineyard is obviously God, and the farmers, are the Jewish people, who were promised this land, beautiful land, and they were the promised nations. But as the time goes by, they go further and further and further from God. He sends them his servants, prophets, to put them back on the right track, to maybe inspire them to do God's will. But they continue to grow further and further from God. And finally, he sends his son thinking that, maybe they will understand, maybe he will be the good example of them, and yet they kill him. So what he does, he comes, he destroys the wicked ones, and he gives this promised land, this promised nation becomes to everyone. Everyone becomes child of God, so to speak. So this is the parable in a nutshell. And this is a parable about relationship with of God with his people. Relationship. And at the end of the parable, there is this beautiful sentence that it talks about cornerstone. And oftentimes we think about cornerstone as a stone in the corner of the building where it says like, dedicated, this church been dedicated to this or this year or something like that, memorial plaque or something like that. In Jewish understanding, the cornerstone was the foundation. They had a different architectural ways of building things, and the cornerstone was the stone that would hold the whole structure. You remove the stone, the whole structure will collapse. So foundation now returns. So when he talks about it, he says, the cornerstone that the builders reject, the stone that the builders rejected became the cornerstone. And he talks about himself, about Christ, himself. The Messiah comes and people reject him without realizing that he is the cornerstone